Good afternoon. I think when I checked just now, not a single person is participating. However, I will go through these presentations which I have prepared for this week, which is, if you have gone through the past papers in the last few years, you will come across that every year there is a question on uniform rules for bank-to-bank reimbursement, right? And in fact, today in the morning, I conducted the Sinhalese medium class also for international trade, DABF, right? And there I got more than 23 people throughout, and actively participating, asking questions and all. Now, today what I'm going to do is, since I don't have active participants today in the English medium, I will run through the presentation. I will go through these uniform rules for bank-to-bank reimbursement, and it is up to you to study and answer the questions. And I think this must be the main reason why last 3 years consecutively, Sinhalese medium pass rate was earlier, when I took over the classes in 2012 or 13, it was only 22%, the pass rate. But now, last 3 years consecutive, it was either 74 or 75 or 76%. The highest, right? The main reason why, what I can see, is the participation and asking questions, clarifying the gray areas. Then only you can answer the questions. Otherwise, if you think that you can listen to my sessions later and that's more than enough for you guys, that's the biggest mistake. I'm repeatedly telling this, right? I'm repeatedly telling this to you, because whether you are doing the exam in English medium or English medium, it is immaterial. The knowledge is the most important thing, right? Okay. Anyway, I will go through this. Uniform rules for bank-to-bank reimbursement. First of all, we will discuss about what does UURR 75 mean. Before that, we should know what is uniform rules for bank-to-bank reimbursement. Now, what is this bank-to-bank reimbursement? Right? Now, first I'll explain that to you. After that, we will discuss. Now we have, when we very important thing is this bank-to-bank reimbursement is typically for the transactions under documented credits, under collection, open account, then advance payment. No, this bank-to-bank reimbursement rules are not applicable. It is applicable only to documented trades, LCs. Right? So when it comes to LCs, we have the LC issuing bank. Right? They will issue the LC, that is number one. They will issue the LC and advise to the nominated bank, negotiating bank or nominated bank. Nominated bank. Later, this will become negotiating bank. Negotiating bank. Right? Then, at the time of opening the LC, sometimes we have to, as the issuing bank, it is the issuing bank's responsibility to mention this beneficiary or beneficiary's bank, how we are going to reimburse the money. How we are going to reimburse the money. Right? The normal way is once they send the documents to the issuing bank will check the documents and then reimburse the money. That's a simple way, reimburse the money. But when it comes to LC operations, as per the Article 14, each bank has 5 banking days to check the documents. So if these people take 5 days and then to send the documents by courier, it will take another 2 days or 3 days. Then it will be issued by, it will be received by the issuing bank. Issuing bank will take another 5 days. 5 plus 3, altogether 13 days to get the money. The poor beneficiary has to wait for the money. Right? Now, instead of doing that, if the documents are compliant with the terms and conditions of the LC, there is a special way of getting the bank-to-bank reimbursement. To get the reimbursement through the third bank, we call reimbursing bank. Reimbursing bank. Right? Now, for example, this issuing bank, we say in Sri Lanka. Reimbursement bank is the corresponding bank of the issuing bank. Normally, if the LC is in US dollars, then bank in US dollars. If the issuing bank is Bank of Ceylon, the correspondent bank is Standard Chartered, New York. Standard Chartered, New York. So, reimbursing bank is in New York. The nominated bank or the negotiating bank is in Dubai. Is in Dubai, right? So, if you are going to give the reimbursement, bank-to-bank reimbursement under uniform rules for bank-to-bank reimbursement, then on the very first, the very same day when we open the LC, we send the reimbursement authorization. We send the reimbursement authorization to the reimbursing bank. That is number 2. Right? Reimbursing authorization. Reimbursement authorization to the reimbursing bank. Then, when these people negotiate the documents, as per the terms and conditions of the LC, if the documents are complied with the terms and conditions of the LC, then they will send the claim. Number 3, they will send the claim. They will claim the money immediately. Right? So they don't have to wait for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. On the very first day, if, for example, if the customer submit the document, on the same day they manage to check the documents, and same day they claim. Right? Once they claim, they will pay. They will pay the nominated bank. The payments will be done through New York because, for example, all the banks are having their correspondent banks in New York. So, for example, Bank of Ceylon has sent the reimbursement authorization to SCB New York, Standard Chartered Bank New York. Right? Now, the bank in Dubai, we'll say Emirates Bank or Mashreq Bank, is Mashreq Bank. Mashreq Bank is having their corresponding bank in New York. They have their own bank, Mashreq Bank New York. Mashreq Bank New York. So these people, SCB New York, will debit Bank of Ceylon and credit Mashreq Bank New York. And that's how the reimbursement is happening. Right? So unfortunately, there's no one in the class. There won't be any questions. So later also, I'm not going to go and check or ask any questions from you guys. I will just go on. If somebody has joined the class, please stop me and inform me. Then at least I know one guy is there. Right? Then I will allow that guy to ask any questions and to have a good conversation with me. Right? Okay. Otherwise, I will go on. Okay. There are two girls in the class, right? Can I have your names, please? At least I can then discuss with you. What are the names? I can see two people are logged in. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. My name is Infanta.
Your name is?
Infanta.
Infanta, okay. You are from which bank?
Nations Trust.
Nation Trust. The other person? Other person? Okay, I don't want to waste any more time, right? If you have any, Infanta, if you have any questions when I'm going on, please stop me and ask me the questions, right?
Sure, sir.
Otherwise, I'm thoroughly disappointed with your class. This is not the way to happen, but if this is the way you people want it, I'm also very well adaptable to any system, right? You are in the trade department, Infanta?
No, sir, I'm not in the trade department.
You're not in trade. What is the department?
I'm at leasing.
Pardon?
Leasing.
Leasing. Okay, leasing. Good. Now, URR 75 was approved by the ICC National Committee at the ICC Banking Commission in April 2008, and it was effective since 1st October 2008. Right? Earlier, it was bank-to-bank reimbursement URR 525. And there was a small revision. Anyway, annually, every 10 years or so, it will get revised. So, since 2008, the applicable rules are URR 725, right? Because the reason is 2000, the main reason is 2007, there was a UCP 600 revision. The latest revision is UCP 600. This was effective from 2007. So that is why we had to change the URR also to bring these long-standing rules into conformity with UCP 600. Right? Okay. What is the scope of the URR 725? The uniform rules for bank-to-bank reimbursement are to apply to any bank-to-bank reimbursement under documented rate, right? When the reimbursement authorization expressly indicates that it is subject to these rules. When we open the LC, under bank-to-bank reimbursement process or the field, bank-to-bank reimbursement field, we say subject to URR 725. Bank-to-bank reimbursement subject to URR 725. Then the URR 725 applies. And if they are silent about the reimbursement clause, then the reimbursement will be done as per the UCP 600. Right? It will be done as per the UCP 600. And these rules are binding on all parties unless expressly modified or excluded by the reimbursement authorization. Right? Okay. How URR 725 can be applied to bank-to-bank reimbursement under documented rate? URR 725 uniform rules for bank-to-bank reimbursement. The issuing bank is responsible for indicating in the documented rate that the reimbursement is subject to URR 725. I just mentioned that. The issuing bank, when they issue in the LC, they have to mention that under the reimbursement field. As a result, both MT 700, issue of a documented rate, and MT 740, authorization to claim reimbursement. Now, when we issue the LC, we issue the LC under MT 700. The SWIFT format is MT 700. And when we issue the reimbursing authorization, it is MT 740. MT 740. Right? Under MT 740, SWIFT message, under MT 700, the normal LC, the SWIFT message, we have to mention URR latest version or not URR are the options regarding reimbursement. Either you have to say URR latest version, then URR 725 will applicable. Or if you mention not URR, if it is not URR, means that not URR rules, but UCP 600, Article 13 will apply to the bank-to-bank reimbursement. Right? Table of contents of URR 725, I have given, there are 17 articles. The headings are given there. This one, study this particular slide for 2 minutes. Go by the numbers. Huh? First, the number 1, then step 2, step 3, like that. Read it and try to understand. See whether it is different from what I have mentioned on the board. Right? Take 2 minutes. Carefully study this and try to get it into your head. Are there any differences? Or basically it's the same? Infanta? Basically it is same, right? Only difference I can see is when they send the negotiating bank, when they send the reimbursement claim, but meanwhile they will send the documents. They will send the documents to the issuing bank for the payment. Right? For anyway, we have to send the documents to the issuing bank. That's the only thing. Other than that, and it is similar. Article 1, application of URR 725. URR 725 shall apply to any bank-to-bank reimbursement when the text of the reimbursement authorization expressly indicates that it is subject to this rule. The important thing here is the text of the reimbursement authorization. The reimbursement authorization here reimbursement authorization here should say this is subject to URR 725. Right? Then only they will record it. The issuing bank is responsible for indicating in the document credit that reimbursement is subject to these rules. We have repeatedly discussed this. The reimbursing bank acts on the instructions and under the authority of the issuing bank. The reimbursing bank, the New York bank, will act on the instructions which they have received from the issuing bank and the authority. Article 2 talks about the definitions. Here we will discuss about so many definitions. We discuss about who is the issuing bank, who is the reimbursing bank, reimbursement authorization, reimbursement amendment, blah, 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 everything, right? For the purpose of these rules, branches of a bank in different countries are considered to be separate. For the purpose of these rules, branches of a bank in different countries are considered to be separate. What do you mean by that? Okay, if you say issuing bank in Sri Lanka is Standard Chartered Bank, Colombo. Issuing bank is Standard Chartered Bank, Colombo. Then, can you guess what should be the reimbursing bank in New York? Their reimbursing bank is Standard Chartered Bank, New York. Because Standard Chartered, they have their own bank. Right? Issuing bank is Standard Chartered, Colombo. reimbursing bank is Standard Chartered New York. So it's the same bank, but different branches in different countries. So therefore, we consider Standard Chartered Colombo and Standard Chartered New York are two separate legal entities, two separate entities, right? Definitions. Issuing bank. Issuing bank means the bank that issues the credit and the reimbursement authorization under the credit. Right? Reimbursing bank means the bank instructed or authorized to provide reimbursement pursuant to a reimbursement authorization issued by the issuing bank. Reimbursement authorization, which is issued by the issuing bank, reimbursement authorization means an instructions or authorization independent of the credit issued by an issuing bank to a reimbursing bank to reimburse a claiming bank, or if so requested by the issuing bank, to accept and pay a time draft drawn on the reimbursing bank. Right? Reimbursement authorizations are normally issued by the issuing bank. Right? Reimbursement undertaking. Now, once the reimbursing bank receives the reimbursement authorization, sometimes they will undertake to honor the claims by the negotiating bank. If they have restricted the negotiating bank to say SEP Dubai, right, they are restricted, then the reimbursing bank will send and the reimbursement undertaking to this nominated bank, right, to the claiming bank or nominated bank named in the reimbursement authorization to honor that bank's reimbursement claim, provided the terms and conditions of the reimbursement undertaking have been complied with. Right? Okay. Claiming bank. Claiming bank means a bank that honors or negotiates a credit and presents a reimbursement claim to the reimbursing bank. So SCP Dubai is a claiming bank. They are the people who will negotiate the documents and claim the reimbursement from the reimbursing bank. Reimbursement amendment. Reimbursement amendment means an advice from the issuing bank to a reimbursing bank stating changes to a reimbursement authorization. Right? Then reimbursement claims means a request for reimbursement from the claiming bank to the reimbursing bank. Article 3. Any questions so far regarding the definitions? Any questions? I'm asking only one girl who is talking, and now we have.
No questions, sir.
Huh?
No questions, sir.
No questions. Okay. Right. Now we have about. Is this girl is also there? Yashanti? Yashanti? You are there? Okay. ඒ බබා කතා කරන්නේ නැත. මම දන්නේ ඇයි කියලා. Yes sir කියලා ගෙහුවා. I Sakaranna Bayada Bayanapa. Article 3. Reimbursement authorizations versus credit. Now, a reimbursement authorization is separate from the credit to which it is referred. And a reimbursing bank is not concerned with or bound by the terms and conditions of the credit. Now, I have mentioned reimbursement authorizations will be given on a documented credit, right? But the terms and conditions of the documented credit is completely, they have nothing to do with the reimbursement authorization, right? Are make it in the current terms and conditions, we don't want to bother, right? Okay. Article 4. Honor of a reimbursement claim. Honor of a reimbursement claim. Except as provided by the terms of its reimbursement undertaking, a reimbursing bank is not obligated to honor a reimbursement claim. Except as provided by the terms of its reimbursement undertaking, a reimbursing bank is not obligated to honor a reimbursement claim. මේ reimbursement claim එක ආපු පළියට අපි මේ reimbursing bank is not obligated to pay, right? Honor. Okay. Have a reimbursement undertaking එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා නම්, if they have given, then except as provided by the terms of its reimbursement undertaking. Reimbursement undertaking එකක් තියෙනවා නම්, ඒ තියෙන terms and conditions වලට compile වෙනවා නම්, then they will pay. They will pay. But otherwise, in general, they are not obligated to honor a reimbursement claim. Then who has the authority, the final authority to pay the beneficiary? Which party has the authority? It is obligatory. For those people, it's obligatory to pay. Who are they? Who are they? Issuing bank. Issuing bank. They can't abscond from their obligations. Right? Article 5. Responsibility of the issuing bank. Responsibility of the issuing bank. For providing the information required in these rules in both the reimbursement authorization and the credit. That is the responsibility of the issuing bank. When they issue the LC also, the terms and conditions will be given by the issuing bank. When they send the reimbursement authorization also, the same issuing bank is required to list down if there's any requirements. For any consequences resulting from non-compliance with this provision. Right? Article 6. Issuance and receipt of a reimbursement authorization or reimbursement amendment. Issuance and receipt of a reimbursement authorization or reimbursement amendment. If I am correct, I think last January, about 2 months back, when you had this exam, BABF, there was a question coming under Article 6, URR Article 6. So now you can understand how important these articles, right? All reimbursement authorizations and reimbursement amendments must be issued in the form of an authenticated teletransmission or signed letter. Right? All reimbursement, the signed letter rules and practically it is not happening. Now we all go with the authenticated teletransmission. All reimbursement authorization and reimbursement amendments must be issued in the form of an authenticated teletransmission. An issuing bank must not send to a reimbursing bank. There are certain things that issuing bank should not send the following things. Right? A copy of the credit or any part thereof, or a copy of an amendment to the credit in place of or in addition to the reimbursement authorization or as reimbursement amendment. What do you mean by that? When we send the when issuing bank is sending the reimbursement authorization, we have to send MT740. MT740 is very important, right? Instead of sending MT740, the issuing bank, they should not send a copy of the LC to the reimbursing bank as a proof, right? A copy of LC, the reimbursing bank, they will throw it to the dustbin. They'll throw it straight away, they'll throw it to the dustbin, right? The most important thing, they have to send it under MT740 to the reimbursing bank. When they receive these instructions under certain specific fields, they will auto-upload it. They will auto-upload it to the system, to their system. So when they receive the claim, may claim it, make it set in check in auto. No manual intervention. Right? The multiple reimbursement authorization under one teletransmission or letter, unless expressly agreed to by the reimbursing bank. In one reimbursement authorization letter, you should not send 5, 6 or multiple reimbursement authorization. LC each LC has to be separate. Okay? And the main reason is that they had to upload this information to the system. An issuing bank shall not require a certificate of compliance with the terms and conditions of the credit in the reimbursement authorization. When the issuing bank when they are sending the reimbursement authorization, they should not ask any certificate of compliance from the claiming bank, right? Or require a certificate of compliance with the terms and conditions of the credit in the reimbursement authorization. Eva mugut ne. Over simple lega kyanne auto tamai eva check kala yanne. When make a question ke dila tune. Article 6D. It says a reimbursement authorization must state the following. The question was, it says a reimbursement authorization must state the following. One of the items were credit number 2, currency and amount. What are the other 3? What are the other three? Additional amounts payable and tolerance, if any, claiming bank, or in the case of a freely available credit, that claims can be made by any bank. In the absence of any such indication, a reimbursing bank is authorized to pay any claiming bank. 5. Parties responsible for charges, claiming bank and the reimbursement bank charges, in accordance with the Article 16 of these rules. Right? A reimbursement amendment must state only the relative changes to the above and the credit number. Right. Then E, if the reimbursing bank is requested to accept and pay a time draft instead of a claim, to pay a time draft, the reimbursement authorization must indicate the following. In addition to the information specified in D above. Tenor of draft to be drawn, drawer, party responsible for acceptance and discount charges, blah, blah, blah. Etigulo, Kiola, Thirunga. Right? Now, I don't want to just keep on going because there's no point of me repeating the thing, right? And the other thing, if the people are participating, then they can ask questions and we can discuss it, right? Otherwise, if you keep quiet, I'm sorry, I'll do the best I can. If pre-notification of a reimbursement claim or any requirement or pre-debit notification to the issuing bank must be included in the credit and not in the reimbursement authorization. Right? The pre-notification of a reimbursement claim, when these people are giving authority to the negotiating bank to claim reimbursement, right? Sometimes we will include in the LC under one of the clauses or the requirement, the moment they claim, this negotiating bank is supposed to send a message to the issuing bank to say that we have claimed reimbursement from the reimbursing bank. එතකොට මේගොල්ලන්ට ටක් ගාලා චෙක් කරලා ගන්න පුළුවන් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ correspondent bank වල account එකේ සල්ලි තියෙනවද නැද්ද ඒ ටික ටක් ගාලා බලන්න. Right? හැබැයි ඔය details මේකට දාන්නේ reimbursing bank එකට දාන්නේ නැහැ. Right? If the reimbursing bank is not prepared to act for any reasons whatsoever under the reimbursement authorization or reimbursement amendment, it must so inform the issuing bank without delay. Now, when they receive the reimbursement authorization, if these guys are not prepared to act on the reimbursement authorization for any reasons unknown, whatever reasons unknown to us, right? They have the prerogative to say, no, we are not going to reimburse the money. It is up to them. But they should inform the issuing bank without any delay. They have to inform the issuing bank. In addition to the provisions of Article 3 and 4, the reimbursing bank is not responsible for the consequences resulting from non-reimbursement or delay in reimbursement. Right? Any questions on that? Article 7. expiry of a reimbursement authorization. Expiry of a reimbursement authorization. Right? Expiry of a reimbursement authorization. The reimbursement authorization should not be subject to an expiry date or latest date for presentation of a claim, except as indicated in Article 9. Right? Okay. The reimbursement authorization should not be subject to an expiry date or latest date for presentation of a claim. In a reimbursement authorization, the LC, normally we put a, not normally, it's a must, we put the expiry date of the LC. But in the reimbursement authorization, we don't put expiry dates, right? Unless otherwise indicated in Article 9. The reason is, okay, the LC will be expired on 15th of March. Then if these people received a claim on 20th March, that is after the expiry, still the reimbursing bank will pay. Still the reimbursing bank will pay because expiry, under the reimbursement authorization, you should not put a expiry date of the LC. That is why giving reimbursement under URR 725 is high risk. Most of the banks, they don't give reimbursement authorization because they will ask people to, the negotiating bank, to send the documents to them that they will reimburse after checking the documents. Right? Make a hurry, risky area. Unless for the good customers, good banks, we will not give the this reimbursement authorization under URR 725. The reason is, if the negotiating bank is a culprit, then they can play out. They can play out, right? Because they are not, even after expiry date, they can send claims. These people will pay, right? Up to that amount which they have been authorized. Okay. A reimbursing bank will assume no responsibility for the expiry date of a credit. And if such date is provided in the reimbursement authorization, it will be disregarded. You see, even the issuing bank gives the expiry date on the reimbursement authorization, the reimbursing bank will disregard it. Fully automated transactions. So they don't want to check all those things. They are not a checking authority. If they get a claim, they'll pay. That's it, right? The issuing bank must cancel its reimbursement authorization for any unutilized portion of the credit to which it refers, informing the reimbursing bank without delay. Right? The issuing bank must cancel its reimbursement authorization for any unutilized portion of the credit to which it refers, informing the reimbursing bank without any delay. Now, if the LC is US dollars 100,000, they have received a claim of US dollars $98,000. US dollars 98,000. Right? So they have paid US dollars 98,000 and unutilized US dollars 2,000. Unutilized US dollars 2,000. Now this unutilized portion, once the issuing bank receives the documents and all, and if they say that this is not a partial payment or partial shipment or anything, and a very small amount is remaining, they have to cancel the, or they have to inform the reimbursing bank without delay to cancel the unutilized amounts. Right? Whatever. Tappadin. You know. Right. Article 8. Amendment or cancellation of a reimbursement authorization. Amendment or cancellation of a reimbursement authorization. Where the reimbursing bank has issued a reimbursement undertaking, right? The issuing bank may issue a reimbursement amendment or cancel the reimbursement authorization at any time upon sending notice to the effect to the reimbursing bank. The issuing bank must send notice of any amendment to a reimbursement authorization that has an effect on the reimbursement instructions contained in the credit to the nominated bank, or in the case of a freely available credit, the advising bank. See, the issuing bank must reimburse the reimbursing bank for any reimbursement claims honored or draft accepted by the reimbursing bank prior to the receipt by it of a notice of cancellation or reimbursement amendment. What do you mean by those things? Right? Right. Where the reimbursing bank has issued a reimbursement undertaking. Now, these people, they are given the reimbursement authorization. So, reimbursing bank has also given reimbursement undertaking to the claim negotiating bank. In a scenario like that, now these people have changed the, amended the LC. Issuing bank has amended the LC. So, by way, extending validity date is not a big thing, but if they are reducing the value or if they are increasing the value, that will affect reimbursement. That will affect the reimbursement. Right? Originally, they have opened the LC for 100,000. Issue bank has sent the reimbursement authorization for 100,000. Right? Now, subsequently, now they are increased the value to 150,000. Now, these people will claim, and in a scenario like that, issuing bank should amend the reimbursement authorization also to increase it to 150,000. Otherwise, if these people send a claim for 150,000, reimbursing bank will not honor it. But they go under the within authority up to 100,000, so they will not honor it. That's the meaning of this section. Article 9, reimbursement undertaking. A reimbursement undertaking must comply with the provisions of this article. Article 9 එකට cross reference තිබුණ කලින් ඒවා ආපස්සට බලන්න. An authorization or request by the issuing bank to the reimbursing bank to issue a reimbursement undertaking is irrevocable and should contain the following. Now, sometimes the issuing bank will request the reimbursing bank to issue a reimbursement undertaking. Right? ඒක නිකන් undertaking එක ප්‍රතිඥාවක් දෙනවා. කාටද දෙන්නේ? negotiating bank එකට. Right? So, ඒ වගේ දෙයක් දෙනකොට should contain the following. They have to say the credit number, currency and the amount, additional amounts payable and tolerance, if any. What do you mean by tolerance? Plus or minus changes, right? Full name and address of the claiming bank to which the reimbursement undertaking should be issued, latest date for presentation of a claim, including any nuisance period, parties responsible for charges in accordance with the Article 16 of these rules. Who is responsible for the charges, right? ඔය ටික අපිට දෙන්න වෙනවා. මේ issuing bank එකේ request එකේ දාන්න වෙනවා. If the reimbursing bank is requested to accept and pay a time draft, the irrevocable reimbursement authorization must also indicate the following in addition to the information contained in B above. If it is to pay a draft, now maybe that very rare, right? Tenor of draft to be drawn, drawee of a draft, if other than the reimbursing bank, party responsible for acceptance and discount charges, if any, particular, but make a someone examine the me section. D. If the reimbursing bank is authorized or requested by the issuing bank to issue its reimbursement undertaking to the claiming bank, but is not prepared to do so, it must so inform the issuing bank without delay. Now, issuing bank is asking, okay, please issue the reimbursement undertaking to the claiming bank. But reimbursing bank is not prepared to do so. In a scenario like that, reimbursing bank should immediately inform the issuing bank without any delay. Right? Okay. The credit number, E. A reimbursement undertaking must indicate the terms and conditions of the undertaking, and it should have the credit number and the name of the issuing bank, the currency and amount of the reimbursement authorization, additional amounts payable and tolerance, if any, the currency and amount of the reimbursement undertaking, the latest date for presentation of a claim, including any nuisance period, the party to pay the reimbursement undertaking fee, if other than the issuing bank, the reimbursing bank must also include its charges, if any, that will be deducted from the amount claimed. Right? Okay. If the latest date for presentation of a claim falls on a day when the reimbursing bank is closed for reasons other than those referred to in the Article 15, the latest date for presentation of a claim will be extended to the first following banking day. Okay. LC වලට තියෙනවනේ. ඒකම තමයි මේ reimbursement bank එකකට තියෙන්නේ. Reimbursement bank අපිට දීලා තියෙන the latest date for presentation of a claim. If that date is fallen on a holiday, which the reimbursing bank is closed, right? Then the latest date for presentation will be extended to the first following banking day. First following banking day, right? Abhi, your theme, latest presentation date but today is 11, 12th, 13, 14 Sunday, 14 March, Sunday, 14 March, Sunday. This bank is closed, right? In a scenario like that, the latest presentation date will be extended to the next following banking day, that is 15 March. 15 March automatically extend karna. First following banking day. The reimbursing bank is irrevocably bound to honor a reimbursement claim as of the time it issues a reimbursement undertaking. Right? මේකත් ඔකට එන්න පුළුවන් හදලා question number 1 multiple choice වලට එන්න පුළුවන් possible question එක. A reimbursing bank is irrevocably bound to honor at what stage කියන එක. Right? Bound to honor a reimbursement claim on what stage? Answer is as of the time it issues the reimbursement undertaking. From the time they issue the reimbursement undertaking, they are irrevocably bound to honor the claim. Right? An irrevocable reimbursement authorization cannot be amended or cancelled without the agreement of the reimbursing bank. An irrevocable reimbursement authorization cannot be amended or cancelled without the agreement of the reimbursing bank. Right? Article 10. Standards for reimbursement claim. Okay. The claiming bank's claim for reimbursement must be in the form of a teletransmission and right? Must clearly indicate the credit number and the issuing bank and the reimbursing bank's reference number if known. If they have sent a reimbursement undertaking, then you can mention that also. Must separately stipulate the principal amount claimed, any additional amount due and charges. Must not be a copy of the claiming bank's advice of payment. Must not be a copy of the claiming bank's advice of payment, deferred payment, acceptance or negotiations to the issuing bank. Must not include multiple reimbursement claims under one teletransmission or letter. May claims goda ekeka LCs tuna hataraka claims you can't put it to one reimbursement claim. It has to be separate, one for separate LCs, right? LCs tuna hataraka combined kind of bank. Must, in the case of a reimbursement undertaking, comply with the terms and conditions of the reimbursement undertaking. Article 11, processing a reimbursement claim. A reimbursement bank shall have a maximum of 3 banking days. Right? Following the day of receipt of the reimbursement claim to process the claim. Right? LCA documents check and kochchara thinawada in front
5 days.
5 days. Very good. 5 days, 5 banking days. 3 banking days. If a pre-debit notification is required by the issuing bank, if a pre-debit notification is required by the issuing bank, this pre-debit notification period shall be in addition to the processing period mentioned above. The regular thing happy then pre-debit notification එක වන්නේ කියලා. මෙයාට account එක debit card ඉස්සෙල්ලා say these people have asked for pre-debit notification. In the scenario like that, that particular period also getting added up to this maximum 3 banking days. Maximum 3 banking days නෙමෙයි අර period එක add කරලා තමයි ගන්නවා. In addition to that, if the reimbursing bank determines not to reimburse, either because of a non-conforming claim under a reimbursement undertaking or any reasons whatsoever under a reimbursement authorization, it shall give notice to that effect by telecommunication. If these people have decided not to honor a claim, they have to inform the respective parties, the issuing bank as well as the claiming bank. A reimbursing bank will not be processed a request for back value. Back value කරන්න බෑ දෙන්නේ නැහැ. Reimbursing bank will not process a request for back value. When reimbursing bank has not issued a reimbursement undertaking and a reimbursement is due on a future date, the reimbursement claim must specify the predetermined reimbursement date. Right? If the reimbursement claim should not be presented to the reimbursing bank more than 10 banking days prior to such predetermined date. If the reimbursing bank disregarded the reimbursement claim, it must so inform the claiming bank by teletransmission or other expeditious means without delay. What do you mean by that? When the reimbursing bank has not issued a reimbursement undertaking and the reimbursement is due on a future date, the reimbursement claim must specify the predetermined reimbursement date. Predetermined reimbursement date. Make a value in the future date. If the reimbursement claim should not be presented on the reimbursing bank more than 10 banking days prior to the such predetermined date. It has to be within 10 days, within 10 banking days. Right? එහෙම නැතු මාසයකට විතර කලින් ඒව යවන්න බෑ. Duplication of reimbursement authorization. Now, issuing bank must not, upon receipt of documents, give a new reimbursement authorization. They should not give any new reimbursement authorization or additional instructions unless they constitute an amendment or cancellation of an existing reimbursement authorization. Right? This reimbursement authorization might get duplicated. And because of the duplicated instructions, this the reimbursing bank may pay twice. May pay twice. Right? Reimbursing bank assumes no liability or is responsibility for any consequences that may arise from any such duplication. Article 13, foreign laws and usages. Foreign laws and usages. The issuing bank shall be bound by and liable to indemnify the reimbursing bank against all obligations and responsibilities imposed by foreign laws and usages. For example, issuing bank is in Sri Lanka, reimbursing bank is in New York. Any New York related rules, if reimbursing bank is bound by, right? Very sorry, we also have to abide by them, right? We also have to abide by those rules and regulations, right? US sanctions වලට එහෙම එනවනම් US sanction laws වලට ඇවිල්ලා තිබුණා නම් කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. දැන් මෙහෙම දෙයක් අපි අරමු LC එකක් ඇවිල්ලා negotiating bank එක තියෙන්නේ කොහේ බැංකයක් බැංකින් ඉරාන් කියලා අපි ගත්තා. ඉරාන් වල බැංකයක් නා. There are UN sanctions. මේ එහෙම තියෙද්දි මේ නිව්යෝක් වලට ක්ලේම් එකක් එවුවා. මේගොල්ලෝ ෆ්‍රීස් කරනවා. ක්ලේම් එක ෆ්‍රීස් කරනවා. එතකොට මුත් කරගන්න හම්බ වෙන්නේ නැහැ. right? අර authorization තිබ්බයි කියලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. මේකද ඒවා අපි ඔක්කොම අර reimbursing bank එකේ තියෙන environment එකේ මේ legal laws වලට we are bound and liable. Article 14, disclaimer on the transmission of messages. A reimbursing bank assumes no liability or responsibility for the consequences arising out of delay, loss in transit, mutilation, or other errors arising in the transmission of any message. A reimbursing bank assumes no liability or responsibility for errors in translation or interpretation of technical terms. Right? They are normal anyway. Number 15 also, it is understood, force measure. It is there in the UCP 600 also. Acts of God. Whose measure means acts of God, right? Any events due to acts of God, nobody is liable, right? Article 16, charges. A reimbursing bank charges are for the account of the issuing bank. All charges paid by the reimbursing bank will be in addition to the amount of the authorization, provided that the claiming bank indicates the amount of such charges. Right? Particular charges, කවුරු ගෙව්වෙත් නැතත් issuing bank එක liable. Interest claims and loss of value. Interest claims, loss of value. Any claims for loss of interest, loss of value due to any exchange rate fluctuations, revaluations or devaluations are between the claiming bank and the issuing bank, unless such losses result from non-performance of the reimbursing bank under a reimbursement undertaking. Right? Okay. Fine. Before I go to this quiz area, do you have any issues? Right? Now, initially we mentioned this is for if the LC says bank-to-bank reimbursement subject to URR 725 කියලා අන්න එතකොට තමයි මේක apply වෙන්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් not URR කියලා අපි ගහුවොත් LC එකේ not URR. Not URR. Under the reimbursement authorization, අපි ගහනවා not URR. Then what is applicable. Then UCP 600 Article 13 is applicable. UCP 600 Article 13. UCP 600 Article 13 is applicable. Right? Now there are two girls here. Can you take out your UCP 600? You all must be having your UCP 600, right? Taking Kivan bank to bank reimbursement, Article 13. 5 minutes then, Article 13 de Kivan. Eka Kival even Latama Pika Kataran. Kival. Article 13. Bank to bank reimbursement arrangements. This is under Article 13A. If a credit states that reimbursement is to be obtained by a nominated bank, claiming on another party, reimbursing bank, the credit must state if the reimbursement is subject to ICC rules for bank-to-bank reimbursement in effect on the date of issuance of the credit. A UURR 725 the kila api kiyanna ona. If a credit does not state that the reimbursement is subject to ICC rules for bank-to-bank reimbursement, then the following will apply. Right? Apply when okkoma attatama beluhama. I don't think I had to spend many hours on discussing this thing, but for example, 13B1, this says an issuing bank must provide a reimbursing bank with a reimbursement authorization that conforms with the availability stated in the credit. The reimbursement authorization should not be subject to an expiry date. URR 725, it should not be subject to an expiry date. Under UCP 600 Article 13 also it says, 2. A claiming bank shall not require to supply a reimbursing bank with a certificate of compliance. No need with the claim, no need to send a certificate of compliance. 3. An issuing bank will be responsible for any loss of interest together with any expenses. Just now we discussed that one. Monahari losses, loss of interest, charges and everything, issuing bank is liable. Right? 4. A reimbursing bank's charges are for the account of issuing bank. However, if the charges are for the account of the beneficiary, it is the responsibility of an issuing bank to so indicate in the credit and in the reimbursement authorization. If a reimbursing bank's charges are for the account of the beneficiary, they shall be deducted from the amount due to a claiming bank when reimbursement is made. If no reimbursement is made, the reimbursement bank charges remain the obligation of the issuing bank. Right? An issuing bank is not relieved of any of its obligations to provide the reimbursement if reimbursement is not made by the reimbursing bank on first demand. Right? May the Kritra Kayamtang Kiladenna. If the reimbursement bank charges are for the beneficiary, if the reimbursement bank charges are for the beneficiary, then issuing bank has to mention that in the LC. Normally it's $100, $125 again. So when they have to reimbursement authorization also, they have to inform that charges are for the beneficiary. Then when they receive the claim, if the claim is for $100,000, reimbursing bank will reimburse 99,900, not the 100,000, because the charges are for the beneficiary. Their charges, reimbursing bank charges are for the beneficiary, so they will deduct it from the proceeds. and then only they pay. Right? The last one is the issuing bank is not relieved. Now, in case of some delays, of if these people have refused to honor the claim, if they refuse to honor the claim, then the issuing bank will not be relieved from any their liabilities. They are the ultimate paying bank. They are the ultimate paying bank. Right? ඔය ටික තමයි URR 725, and if it is not subject to URR latest edition, then it is subject, not URR allowed, it will be subject to UCP 600 Article 13B and C. B and C. Okay? All right. Now we will see there are two questions. Can you answer the two questions? මේවා තමයි අර ක්ලාස් එකේ ළමයි ඉන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට තමයි ළමයින්ට ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ. ඩිස්කස් කරන්න. What is the answer for the first one? What is the answer for the first one? A reimbursing bank has a maximum of how many banking days following the day of receipt of a reimbursement claim in which to process it. How many?
3 days.
3 days, yes. 3 days. Right. Ishanti, you also have to answer. හරියට උත්තරයක් දෙන්න බැරි නම් පුතේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ, but give a try. At least you two should pass the exam, right? Which of the following is not a true statement? Which of the following is not a true statement? Have you gone through the question? What about A?
The answer D.
Answer is
D.
D. No, it's wrong. This is wrong. Answer is wrong. Answer D is true. Reimbursement may be made subject to URR 725 with certain modifications or exclusions made in the reimbursement authorization. Perfectly correct. අපි දැන් මෙච්චර discuss කළා ඕකනේ. This is true. Then which is not true? A, reimbursement may be made subject to UCP 600, sub-article 13B and C. Is it true? Is it true? A reimbursement may
True.
be
True.
true. It is very true. Then B, reimbursement may be made subject to the URR 725. Is it true? That is also true. Yeah,
725.
yeah, that is also true. Right? Then D එකත් හරි. C එක බලන්න මොකක්ද තියෙන්නේ කියලා. Reimbursement may be made subject to URR 725 and UCP 600 sub-article 13B and C. ඒක වැරදි. When it comes to reimbursement, either you have to decide subject to the latest version of URR or not URR. Yes or no? දෙකම අච්චාරු ගහන්න බෑ. මේ දෙක අච්චාරු කරලා තියෙනවා. 725 and UCP 600. ඒක වැරදි. Right? So the wrong which is not true is C. මේක මොකක්ද උත්තරේ? An issuing bank's instructions to a reimbursing bank requesting issuance of a reimbursement undertaking subject to URR 725 must indicate which of the following? Reimbursement undertaking. Right? Subject to the URR 725 must indicate which of the following? ඔගන්න මතකද මේක? මොකක් එනවා?
3 only. Answer B.
Answer B. අපොයි නෑ පුතේ. ඒක තමයි වැරදි මේක.
Sorry. It's answer 2. I think it's 2 only. The latest date for the presentation.
The latest date for presentation of a claim, including the usance period, අන්න ඒක හරි. Only 2. And all the others are wrong. මොකද තිබුණා article reimbursement undertaking එක. Article 9 එක කියලා බලන්න. Article 9 එකේ තියෙනවා latest date for presentation of a claim, including any usance period. පැහැදිලිවම තියෙනවා. Right? දැන් කතා කරලා ඉවරෙච්ච එක ගාමු. Right. Correct answer is A. Two only. Four and 5 they were equivalent current. What is the answer? What is the answer? You have to read the question very carefully. It says a valid claim under its reimbursement undertaking. So they have given a reimbursement undertaking. Reimbursement undertaking is irrevocable undertaking here. So you can't just change it on the instructions of the issuing bank. You can't just change. നമുക്കത് തന്നെയാണ്. ඔගොල්ලෝ ගොඩක් කට්ටිය ළමයි යන්නේ A එකට හරි B එකට හරි. Right? A එකට හරි B එකට තමයි ළමයි ගොඩක් යන්නේ. But the correct answer is C. It should honor the claim and debit the issuing bank's account. මේ වගේ එකක් දීලා without getting the consent of all parties, if issuing bank gives some instructions not to honor or something, they will not adhere to those instructions, right? So they will honor the claim and debit the issuing bank's account. Now these things are a little bit risky. I mean, if you don't play it correctly, consequences are high. Consequences are high, right? ඒවා අපිට ඕන විදිහට නැවෙන්න බෑ. ඒකයි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි දැන් banks වල they are very particular when they are giving the reimbursement authorization. These days they are double careful with the COVID-19 and country situations, bank situations and all those things. They are trying to mitigate the risk as much as possible. Right? Number 5, in the event that a reimbursing bank does not honor a claim under a reimbursement authorization, for which no reimbursement undertaking has been issued. Reimbursement undertaking එකක් දීලා නැහැ. Right? And reimbursement bank does not honor the claim. Who is responsible under UURR 725 for the interest in the delay in reimbursement? Make it lazy. Huh?
Issuing bank.
Issuing bank. Very good. Very good. Issuing bank. Right? Okay. I think we discuss all these things. Right? UURR 725. Even if you get some questions, now you should be able to answer. Now, please read the past questions, right? Past papers questions. UURR ඒවා Article 13 වල ඒවා Article 13 එකත් ගන්න ඒක. Bank to bank reimbursement. ඒ දෙකම අරගෙන try to answer all those questions, right? You have to study hard. Your exams will be in May, right? So before that, I'm planning to, in about, I need only 4 or 5 classes to cover the syllabus. After that, we can discuss some papers, but only thing, revision part, right? If I'm going to discuss the papers, there should be at least 20-25 people physically. Otherwise, I'm not going to discuss any questions, because discussing questions means for me to read the question and to me to give the answers. Might as well, you better get the past papers and study on your own. Because you guys who are doing on English medium, you are You think that you guys are the people who knows everything කියලානේ. අපි ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් කතා කරන්නේ, ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් වැඩ කරන්නේ, ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් එක්සෑම් කරන්නේ. අපි ඔක්කොම දන්නවා. ඒ දන්නේ හින්දා තමයි English medium 45%, 50%, 60% වෙනකොට 40, 45, 50%, 55% වෙනකොට අර English medium කවදාකවත් කතා කරන්නේ නැති ළමයි 75% අරන් පාස් වෙන්නේ. Because they want to study and come to a level more than what you people are having. දැන් මෙතන මම දෙකම කරන හින්දා I have the responsibility to equally to support you, but it is up to you, right? English medium class they take the maximum advantage, they participate. So I am also eager to teach them more and to discuss more, right? They can the my class එක අහන් ඉන්න ළමයින්ට මේ කියන්නේ revision එක එනකොට 20ක් 25ක්වත් හිටියේ නැත්නම් there won't be any revisions. තේරුණා නෑ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නේ ඉඳන් ඔක්කොම එන්නේ නැත්තේ. එතකොට මට මේ revision කරන්න බෑනේ කොහොමද ළමයි නැතුව revision කරන්න බෑ. right? ඉතින් එතකොට තමයි බලන්න පුළුවන් මොකද්ද අපි කරන්න කියලා. right? එහෙම නැත්නම් සුමාන ක්ලාසස් 4ක විතර මට I can put a stop. ඔයාලට තනියෙන් ඉතුරු ටික ස්ටඩි කරගන්න කරලා. right. Anything else you want me to next week, next Sunday, normal time class will be there. Sunday කියන්නේ Sunday කවද පුතේ? infant
14th.
Huh?
14th.
14th Sunday. Oh, 14th Sunday. Yes, 14th Sunday we are having the class. I'm going to cover about counter trade and then BOI, EDB, ඔය ටික ඔක්කොම මම ඉවර කරන්න බලන්නේ. Then I'll have to discuss with you Slesic. ඉතින් ඉවරයි. right? ඊට පස්සේ English medium class එක නම ඉතින් වට ඔක්කොම ළමයි එන හින්දා we are going to discuss the papers. Discussing papers means you have to ask me questions, the areas you doesn't know, then I can explain. right? එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ක්ලාස් එකට එන්නේ නැත්නම් ඉතින් මට කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. I can allow you to do your own studies, right? Whoever come into the class, අපි arrangement එකක් දාගමු. මගේ number එකවත් මම දෙන්න. යශාන ඒ ගර්ලි අනිත් ගර්ල්ස් දෙන්නට පුළුවන් අහලා දැනගන්න. අනිත් ගර්ල් මොන බැංක් එකේද? මට පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්න බෑ. අනිත් එක්කන මොන බැංක් එකේද? ටයිප් කරන්න බෑ මට කියන්න. Yeah, missing mage. Right. In front of you are in leasing department. You
Yes,
can
sir.
ask your imports manager or export manager of Nation Trust, right? Tanya lagen hari, Kasun lagen hari, kau lagen hari ahanne. Mage number eka. Even AGM trade will give my number, right? And you can call me anytime you have any issues. Inne kala menang mang it udaw karno, right? Okay. Thank you very much.